What's going on, everybody? This is Super Robot, and today will be brought to you by the lovely 4K. Anyway, we're going to talk about the new Titan class price point that we're having with Transformers. Now, it would seem that with the Commander class, we do get a lot of good materials and good parts, engineering and things of that nature. But that leaves out a lot of figures who are slightly larger, but not quite large enough to be Titan class. So with this new approach, maybe we can get more figures that we think would have to go maybe to HasLab that could in turn be put into the main line under this new Titan class price point. Now, is this new Titan class price point up to $160, or is it always going to be $160 and we're going to get certain size and certain materials? That we don't know yet, but we have 9 characters, 8 which will be potential molds to be made in this Titan class point, and a special repaint that few may not know about. So pictured here is Grandis, Six-Liner, and Sky Gary. Now, we know that Grandis was thrown around in a conversation, but now that we're getting Star Convoy, would it be feasible for us to get Grandis at this new price point? And I would say yes. Now that we're getting Grandis, we could probably get a more articulated Grandis that can now fit and merge with Star Convoy. And I know that I was very vocal against Grandis because I was like, where are you going to put him? But of course, now that we know they're going to make Star Convoy, this makes more sense. Let's just hope they don't bork on the engineering. But a Grandis would sell because we know he goes with Star Convoy. Now, next, if this is a price point, we could get a more robust Diatlas. Now, I know that a lot of the molds will show for picture are pretty much repaints of each other, but the actual G1 figures or the figures themselves were not the same. Well, we'll get to those later on, but definitely a new Diatlas would be nice along with the rest. We could get a better big powered set, which in turn would now give us the Overlord. Now, Overlord, for what it was worth, it was very packed in the olden days of the leader class, back during the Titans Return and, Combiner Wars, that version of plastic. But due to them using not enough plastic and tooling, we got a very hollow figure. And this time around, I think if we were able to get this in the new Titan class price point, we can get better tooling, better sizing. We can actually get some Power Masters or God Masters here that can actually, even if it doesn't do gimmicks, at least we have them. At least we have everything, more heavier, more substantial, especially when we put them in base mode. And I think that Overlord would definitely fit well in that price point. Now, next is Thunderwing. And I know a lot of people would want to see a Thunderwing like in HasLab and everything like that. But we need to move away from HasLab because HasLab, they don't really not going to make those figures for mainline. And I think if we started with this new price point, we may be able to get more figures here. And I think with Star Convoy, if that really sells, I would love to see Thunderwing come next. And because if we get a Thunderwing, and we get the full Monty with that, you could turn around and make Black Shadow. Now you got 2 characters. You don't even have to make as much of the figure. You could do like, hey, we're only going to do this many of Thunderwing and do this many of Black Shadow. But man, you got 2 figures that people will want and people are going to buy, even though they're 2 different lores. Since we never really got a Thunderwing, I think this is a good opportunity for Hasbro to look into this, and especially under this new price point. If that is to be the case, we could get some very nice figures from this, and definitely seeing Black Shadow would really, really make my day. Now on to Thunderclash, and we have yet to see Thunderclash anywhere in the main line. In fact, many of the Turbo Masters and the European Transformers seem to get very, very little fanfare. And I think Thunderclash deserves it just for the colors alone, and being that this was the actual original mold versus what it gets turned into for Machine Wars, which was Optimus Prime. But then if you have Thunderclash and you make one, now you can make a Machine Wars Optimus Prime. So now you got 2 figures that you could play with. And even if you did one, maybe you can make other as a selects, or I don't know, but there's potential with that. We do need a Thunderclash. I mean, bad. I mean, it's been I mean, the only Thunder Clash we have is in, from BotCon. And I mean, my goodness, that's been how many years now? The repaint of Energon Rodimus. And finally, I think for everyone with the new animated figures being dropped, an animated Omega Supreme would be awesome. Of course, he's not quite big enough to be a base like his G1 brother, but having him at that price point, being able to turn into a giant ship with all the amenities that he should have from the animation, I'm telling you, across the board, whether you're a G1er, whether you're a person that was, liking Beast Wars or through the movies or whatever, we all can agree that animated Omega Supreme was one of those characters that I think a lot of people would love to see because of his prominent role in quite a few episodes, especially in the third season. So yeah, I would love to see that, because now with this price point opens up the opportunity. Now, even though this is really helping Hasbro more, this is going to help us. Still, we may be able to get the characters we need. And then finally, we need to discuss Hyperdrive. Now, Hyperdrive only shows up as a sticker on Skyquake. I guess you could say Skyquake's that little part where the thing pops up. But Hyperdrive was planned, and if you kind of look at what he looks like, doesn't he kind of look like Star Convoy with a different chest and a different head? So we could possibly get Hyperdrive from Star Convoy as a select, and that's what? See, this is why you got to talk to people who have a lot of knowledge of Transformers. That would be freaking awesome. I'm just going to tell you, I'll be like, yo, Hasbro pulled it from the well. Hey, we got to see some things, man, before all this goes. So here's my take on this new price point. Now, the good with the price point is basically that we can get figures without having to go maybe to a HasLab or without having to go into some unknown price point. I would have preferred that they use maybe the old Supreme adage. Like, that way we don't get confused, and maybe Hasbro doesn't get confused with their price points. Because, Hasbro's not making a lot of money right now, and they sure would like to make some more money. But with the potential of characters like what we just discussed going into that new price point, I think that would be a good sell for them, because it would give them a room and the flexibility. And, I hate the compromise, but honestly, the investors are not going to budge. So if they do this new price point under the new Titan class, they still should call it Supreme. I think that would be worthy, because we can get, a nice Overlord, a nice Black Shadow, a nice Thunderwing without compromising this or compromising that, or hoping that, well, maybe it has to go all the way to HasLab to do something. Maybe there's other characters that would have, been HasLab potential that could go here. And I think that would help, because then that way people could get the figures without having to go through all the hassle of going to the aftermarket to get them because they missed out. So that's just my 2 cents on that. Can 160 hurt or help? It can only help if Hasbro does exactly what they need to do. Hasbro, you better speak to your customers now before you go down the rabbit hole of doom later. So what are your thoughts? Leave them down in the comments below. Of course, please like, subscribe, and share. This is Super Robot Ed, bringing you more news reviews to them. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.